Hey, Matt.
Hey, Ryan.
Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, because it is time for Discography Draft! Woo! And welcome back, everybody, to the best music podcast on this side of the Mississippi, called Hey Listen to This. I am Ryan Kearns,
I'm Matt Durzik.
and if you are listening to this, you are listening to a banked episode because me and Matt has something going on in our lives, and we figured we'd try something a little loose, a little fun. Considering that both me and Matt are into fantasy hockey, like maniacs that we are. Matt's in 2 leagues, I'm in 4. I figured it'd be an interesting concept for us to do time to time, take a step back from the album review stuff, and take a look at an artist's discography as a whole. And I figured we can have some fun with this. So this was a little game that I cooked up out of my brain. I mean, I took inspiration from a couple different sources, but essentially what me and Matt are gonna do is um we're gonna decide by a virtual coin flip, which I'm gonna share my screen with Matt, so he can see that I'm doing 100% fairly. That who's ever gonna go first, and essentially we're gonna take turns drafting albums onto our fantasy music album team. I don't even know like what the proper terminology should be in this case. And once we get done drafting our team, we're then gonna go onto Metacritic.com and see whose team has the collective highest score, and whoever's team has the highest score wins. What do they win? Fun. Or, I mean, this is again an incredibly loose concept. Maybe they can choose the next. They'll be able to choose the next artist in the series. And the way that that will be announced is just in the next episode of Discography Draft. So, Matt, are you ready? Are you excited for this brand new venture that we're gonna go into?
I am excited because this is different. This is it's going to test our knowledge, I think, a little bit of what our opinions are, and I think it's also going to test our opinions against that of the rest of the world, apparently. Because we might really like an album by a certain artist, and it may finish in dead last, or the vice versa. We may think an album sucks, and it's like, oh, they really, really like that album.
All right. So, since this was a concept that I came up with, I let Matt choose the very first artist that we're going to talk about in terms of their discography. And Matt, who have you chosen for this inaugural episode of this little fun game that we're going to do?
I have chosen the band The Who, because it is a band that, during my classic rock phase of my teenage years, was one of the bands that I was willing to die on any hill for. So, with as limited knowledge as I was given, I was like, okay, what's a band that I know at least 5 albums from? And The Who is a good choice, because, we'll get into the albums themselves and my thoughts on them, so that's what I'm going with.
Alright, sounds good. Alright, so without any further ado, I'm going to do something for the very first time in the history of us doing video calls to record episodes of our podcast. Are you ready for this?
I am.
I'm going to share you my screen here, okay? Alright, let's see. Alright, can you see my screen?
I can.
Alright, okay. So, the way that we're going to determine the order here is we're going to flip a coin. And I'm going to allow you to call it heads or tails.
I'm going to say tails.
Heads! I go first.
All right.
So, there's not gonna be a timer for how long we have to choose the albums because let's face it, this is just for fun. But as you can see here, I have all the studio albums here. I once we draft them, then we'll go into the appropriate categories, and then after we draft, we'll look into the scores of each one, and see who wins this first episode. So, without any further ado, I'm gonna go with the very first pick in this draft because there's two ways that I can go here, in my humble opinion. I can go either Tommy or Quadrophenia. So, you know what? I'm gonna go with Quadrophenia as my first pick. So, cut and paste. All right, Matt, you're on deck here.
Okay. I am actually gonna go with Who's Next as my first overall pick.
All right. Then I'm gonna go with Tommy as my next pick, and at this point, we have run out of albums that I know by the Who. So, so Matt, you have a home field advantage here.
Not as much as you think, but we'll go there. I'm gonna go with the Who Sell Out.
Okay. Let's see here. Get you over there. All right. So I'm gonna go. Actually, at this point, I'm gonna take a look on Spotify to at least see if I know some of these albums here, or some of the songs off the albums.
That's okay. That's fair.
Because we've reached the point. Okay. So actually, I'm gonna go with "Who Are You" as my next pick.
Okay. I'm gonna go with My Generation.
All right. Let me see here. I'm gonna go the Who by the Numbers as my next pick.
Okay. I'm gonna go with a quick one.
I love how we've not touched their last 4 studio albums, and that might be for a reason.
It definitely is for a reason. It definitely is.
All right. Let's see. So for my next pick, I'm gonna go off of Logic here because I looked through all the songs off these last 4 albums, and I'm like, I know none of these. So I would say the album Endless Wire, it was released in 2006, and I feel at that time maybe critics were like, chomping at the bit for anything like classic rock. Like, we just, 2001, around that time, it was the rise of, Americana music, and maybe they had to transition into something else. I know, around this time, again, I could be overanalyzing my choice here, and it could end up being the absolute stinker of my team here. But I feel like around this time, Led Zeppelin was starting to pop back up in popularity because of the compilation albums that they put out around this time and the concert that they had. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Endless Wire as my pick here.
Okay. Let's see. I have 3 remaining that I see. I'm gonna go with Face Dances.
All right.
An album I have not heard.
Okay. And that being said, I'm gonna go with It's Hard as my last pick, just for the name it's by itself.
So I guess that leaves me with Who.
Yep. All right. So before we even take a look at the Metacritic ratings, is there any surprises that you were able to grab, or because I kind of got nervous though, man, to be honest with you, because you apparently know this band a little bit better than I do. So
I do a little bit, and I will say a couple of notes on my end. I'm very surprised you didn't pick Who's Next first overall. I will say you might have better selections combined with Quadrophenia and Tommy, but Who's Next, like that, you talk about like classic rock, like that is the classic rock album by The Who. It's got Bob O'Reilly, Won't Get Fooled Again, Behind Blue Eyes. Um, Bargain I'd throw in there as a great album cut. I mean, there's really not a bad track on the album. Getting in Tune's also on there. Going Mobile. I'm just about to name every single track off the album, essentially.
Yeah, not gonna lie, whenever you were starting to name all the tracks there, dude, I was just like, oh, I'm in trouble, aren't I? All right, cool. Um, so that being said, let's go to Metacritic and figure out the scores. And full disclosure, this is the first time I'm ever have been on Metacritic as a in my life. So if I don't know how to navigate, I apologize. Okay. The Who. Wow. Yeah, about that. All right, hold on. Let's do this. Actually, I think it'll be a little bit more entertaining for us if we go bottom to top in terms of like how the picks were made. So if you're good with that,
Okay.
all right.
I'm good with that.
So we're gonna try something a little differently here because I feel like I'm just spinning my tires here. Okay, cool. Found it. Had to go through Google here. All right. So you got a 79 for your first score. Are you surprised, disappointed, or how are you feeling, man?
Not too bad. I'll disclose this right now. I don't really use Metacritic, but I know what a 79 out of 100 means. That's usually pretty good, and especially for an album that was released in what year was that? 2019.
Yeah.
I mean, for a band that started in the 60s to have that kind of critical acclaim so many years later is pretty impressive in and of itself. Again, have not heard the album.
All right. Cool. So the first critic review that we see on here for the listener here, they rated it a 90 out of 100, and they're saying that this album is spellblinding, shivered down the spine stuff, and enough to have any self-respecting quadropheniac dusting down their scooter for one last run down to Brighton. Cool. All right, moving on. We are going to go on to It's Hard. And we're going to find out if I screwed up or not. So,
I will say I do have It's Hard on vinyl. It's not terrible, but there's only like a couple tracks I remember from it.
Let's see if I can find it. Actually, let me just do this. Is this album even on Metacritic? That would be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, kind of derail the whole plot.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
That is incredible.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna call a slight audible if you would agree to this. Why don't we make everything off of All Music? Because I feel like that's gonna be a little bit easier for us to find. And not as like, much of dead space that you have to edit out. So that being said. Okay. So your album that you got, the self-titled by The Who, got 4 stars out of 5. So we'll just do 4. And then It's Hard got nice. 2 stars out of 5. I'm starting behind the 8 ball on this one, man. Excellent. All right. So moving right along here, we're gonna go to Face Dances. Now, are you familiar with this album at all, or no?
I know 1 or 2 songs off it. Mainly just the single "You Better You Bet." That's the only one I really know.
Okay. And you have 3.5 stars out of 5, and I have Endless Wire. Okay. I mean, a lot better than It's Hard, but I'm still behind the 8 ball here a little bit. I have a 3.5 out of 5, so not too bad. I mean, I want to cry a little bit, but it's okay. So now going on to a quick one. Oh, Nice. Okay, so 4.5 out of 5. All right. I feel like you might end up killing me here.
Oh,
um,
you never know. You got a couple strong ones.
yeah, true. All right, and then we're gonna see the Who by the numbers.
I think it's just by numbers, not by the numbers.
Yeah, true. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, got a 4 there. Okay, coming back. I mean, it's hard. It's gonna be hard for me to, you know, come back from that because I think I got the turd in the rankings here. All right, let's see. My generation.
It might be the Who Sings My Generation, because this was back in the 60s whenever UK and US releases decided to be completely different for some stupid reason.
Okay.
So in the UK, it's simply My Generation, but in America, it's the Who Sings My Generation.
All right. Oh, we got our first 5 out of 5. I'm gonna start crying here a little bit. All right, so the next album is Who Are You? Oh, Christ, man. Okay, I feel like I've lost, man. 3.5 out of 5. Okay, now we're looking at the Who Sell Out. I need you to have a stinker here, man.
Good luck.
Another 5.
Yes.
Uh, okay, so at this point, Who's Next has to have like a 1 out of 5 for me to have a chance. Because even if Tommy and Quadrophenia have perfect ratings, I feel like you've won this first battle of the Discogs here.
4.5. That's not bad.
Yeah, I needed a 5 though. Okay, and actually at this point I need Who's This Next just to get a 0. Nope, it's a 5.
It's fine.
Yeah, Quadrophenia. Okay, I got a 5. There we go.
So your first pick was actually legitimately the right one.
Yeah. So I mean, we can. I'll do the quick math here, but I feel like I know definitely you've won.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right.
I mean, it's kind of hard not to see, but let's see. For all intents and purposes, going down like my draft picks, we have Quadrophenia, which got a 5 out of 5 on All Music. Then Tommy 4.5. Then Who Are You 3.5. Then Who by Numbers, and that got a 4. And then we got Endless Wire 3.5. And then the stinker of all stinkers, It's Hard, got a 2. A 2. Which at the end of the day makes this a 22.5. And Matt, do you want to go over your numbers?
Yes, I had Who's Next, which was a 5. The Who Sell Out, also a 5. My Generation, which was a 5, so that's 15 already. A quick one, that's 4.5 out of 5. Face Dances, which is a 3.5 out of 5. So you put the two together, that's another 8, so that's 23. And then Who is another 4, so that's 27.
So you killed me in this first episode of Discography Draft, man. Um, like It's Hard killed me. I generally thought Tommy would be higher of a rating than 4.5, and then after that, like albums like Who Are You and the Who by Numbers, like I thought those would be like at least a little bit higher. Like Who by Numbers got a 4, which isn't that bad to be honest with you. I thought Who Are You would be a little bit higher, but yeah, overall a little disappointing on my end here, man.
Well, I guess that means I get to pick the next Discog draft as well whenever we decide to do that.
Yeah. So that being said, was there anything that stood out to you before we wrap up this quick episode that we're doing here?
Yeah, I will say I'm a little surprised that, again, It's Hard was that low. I'm with you on that because based on, obviously compared to other Who albums, it's not great. It's kind of just, phoning in on the last, because that was the last album they made before they broke up in 1982 or 1983, I think. And then I will say, I thought Endless Wire was going to be a little lower. I am surprised that Tommy is at a 5. But aside from that, everything kind of... I also thought the Who by Numbers was a little high, but at the same time, that's not an album I've listened to, so I might have to give that one a listen, because 4 out of 5 is pretty good, especially for a band of this caliber. But if we learned anything today, Ryan, you are not the real loser. The real loser is Metacritic.
Yeah, because I thought, like, oh, hey, yeah, I would be able to find, like, it pretty easily. And I'm like, actually, never again. Like, everything that I'm going to look for in terms of, like, just, pure music reviews that a site has covered, like, everything, I'm going to go to AllMusic. So that's a shout out to allmusic.com, everybody. Okay, cool. So, that being said, as the resident Who expert, or at least between the two of us, you're a little bit more knowledgeable. If someone were to be looking to get into the Who, but you couldn't recommend Who's Next, Quadrophenia, or Tommy, what album would you recommend?
Oh, that's a tough one, because those would be the 3 heaviest hitters. I'd probably go with the Who Sell Out, because even though it sounds so much different from any of their other albums or any other album in rock history, period, if you just look at the songs themselves, they do present a strong sense of where things are going. It's a nice teaser album, especially to the likes of Tommy and Quadrophenia, because there's a couple songs at the end there, particularly Rael 1 and Rael 2, which is basically their first like little mini opera. And a quick one has one of those too, but I would say either one of those, and if I had to choose between those two, I'm going with the Who Sell Out.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I think this was a great test episode. Usually, like, our worst episodes of, like, anything that we're ever going to do is going to be the very first one. I mean, who knows? This could end up being, like, our best episode.
We never know.
This was a brand new format that we were testing. So, that being said, I feel like this will be a nice thing for listeners who don't want to listen to, like, our main show, because those can be beefy, like, over an hour long. If someone just wants, like, a 20 bite-sized version of what we do, this will be it. Cool. I mean, depending on how long you edit this down to, because I think we've been going a little bit longer than 20 minutes.
I think so.
But I digress. So, that being said, yeah. If you like what you heard and you want to support me and Matt here, best way that you can do that is going on to that podcasting platform of choice that you're currently on and rating us the highest rating that you can give us. If you're listening to this on the YouTubes, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave an emoji that describes your opinion or your feelings about this episode, or if anything, you could drop your favorite Who album. And if you're looking to find us on social media, we are at TT Hey Listen. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So for the last time in this episode, I am Ryan Kearns.
And I am Matt Durzik.
And just remember that sometimes you need to take care of your cactus.
I'm sorry.